strikes 2, 3, and 4. If the band goes down, we'll yell for more.
I interviewed Bill Haley in 1956, and I said, Bill, what's it like? You're king of the world, rock around the clock, shake, rattle, and roll. He said, we're finished. I said, what? He said, we're finished. There's a young, good-looking kid out of the South they call the Hillbilly Cat. And he's good-looking and young and all the things I'm not, and he's going to take over. Bill Haley knew what was coming.
Shuffle to the left, shuffle to the right, gonna rock and roll till the early ready to rock and roll.
Elvis was such a phenomenon because he was a one-off. No one had ever seen anything like this. This was like a Martian, really, especially to the American religious Southern belt.
There was black music and there was white music, and radio stations, there was very much a segregation in music as well as there was in every other aspect of life in the United States. And I think for a lot of people, they would hear this voice and this, and then they look over and say, well, that's a white boy singing that way, you know? So I think it was kind of a shock for the system.
There was no classification for Presley. Country people didn't think he sounded country. Pop people certainly didn't think he sounded pop.
His voice was so unusual for that time period. And his clothes were unusual. His dress with the peg pants, you know, and all that stuff, and stripes down his pants leg. And he's a good-looking kid, a good-looking guy.
Now, the first time we met him, he had on a pink shirt with a black pair of trousers with a white stripe down the side. This made him look different. Of course, the way he combed his hair with long sideburns, you know, that made him look different. So the first thing I remember was his looks.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the clock tonight.
A lot of the other musical performances that were around, even Bill Haley, who was a contemporary, Bill looked a lot older and a lot straighter, more straight-laced. And Elvis was hip, and he was young, and he was handsome. So there was a big difference, and he sang like a black man and could dance and all those things. And Bill didn't. You know, Bill looked like an insurance salesman, I think, at the time.
In those days, that was the artist, anybody that would sing, to come out and do a number, they'd just stand there. But Elvis was just not one that could come out and do a number and stand there. If he did a number that moved, he'd move with it. And this is the reason that he made such an impact.
When he got up on a stage, that charisma that he apparently had when you saw him live, or even when you see the clips, it comes across. He just brought a certain amount of energy, wild energy, raw energy, call it what you will, to the performance and to the songs.
When he first started, he didn't dance around too much. But a couple of times he was moving around a little bit, and we got through, and he said, why are those kids screaming and hollering? And he said, well, you're dancing, you're moving around. He said, oh, am I? I don't think he realized it. So after that, he did more of it. He could see the reaction of the kids by then. You know, he said, oh, that's pretty good. I'll just do some more.
Rock and roll music, if you like it, and if you feel it, you can't help but move to it. That's what happens to me. I can't help it. I mean, I have to move around. I can't stand still. I've tried it, and I can't do it.
When he was singing and playing, he'd always raise up on the balls of his feet, both feet. And with the big britches legs back then, and when he'd do that, they'd start flopping, and it looked like he was he was really getting going with it.
Got a gal named Sue, she knows just what to do. I got a gal named Sue, she knows just what to do. She knows how to love me, yes indeed. Boy, you don't know what you do to me.
I don't think Elvis invented rock and roll. It had been around before him, and you know, he's referred to as the king of rock and roll. A lot of people argue that, Little Richard being one who claims he's the king of rock and roll. Perhaps he is. But what Elvis did that others didn't is he brought it to the masses.
She almost drives me crazy. She knows how to love me, yes indeed. Boy, you don't know what you do to me.
As far as his musicianship is concerned, Elvis lacked a little. He wasn't really a musician from the standpoint of technical knowledge. But from what he could do, he was the apex of musicianship. Because whatever he did, if it didn't sound good, it still was truth.
None of us were good musicians, but we knew kind of what his thinking was, you know, so we basically went along with him, and somehow or other it worked. It really worked well.
Well, now you may go to college, you may go to school, you may have a pink Cadillac, but don't you be nobody's fool. Now, baby, come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play house with you. Well, listen, let me tell you, baby, what I'm talking about. Come on back to meet the little girl so we can play some house. Now, baby, come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play house with you. Hit it!
Elvis had a fantastic band, and you had Scotty Moore on guitar. DJ kept just the steadiest backbeat you ever wanted. Bill Black, he was the bass player for Elvis. He wasn't necessarily the best bass player in the world, but he was the one that was best for Elvis.
Bill was just an all-around bass player. That's, you know, just not country, not pop, just the feel of it. That's what he had a good feeling to his bass playing.
The first Elvis sounds unique were because of Scotty Moore's unique guitar.
I try to listen to a song and play something I think that would fit the music, or the way the guy's singing, you know, that way.
The way he played was so unique from all the other guys. It was different. Played the thumb and the rhythm, and just, you could hear his record, you could tell it's Scotty. There's no question about it. And all the guitar players hadn't figured out what he's doing yet, you know?
It wasn't country music, it wasn't rhythm and blues music. You know, it was a mixture of the two of them.
When Scotty played the guitar, his searing guitar riffs and that, it gave Elvis the chance to get away from the microphone and do a bunch of gyrating around, you know, and shaking his hips and wiggling around. Half the time he didn't play the guitar even, you know, it was more of a prop than anything. But he played off of Scotty.
That's all I know, mama, anyway do.
We put out that first record, well then of course the local DJs around Memphis started getting calls and everything, and a couple of other people that were quote unquote music managers and what have you, and everybody was calling him, and the three of us were all just sitting chatting one day, and he was talking about the people calling him, and he said, well, I don't know what to tell them. He said, and it was actually Sam's idea. He said, I'll tell you what, said Scotty, said, why don't you sign up as manager, said, for a year, and give us time to look for somebody that we all trust and want to work with. And that's the way what happened.
Scotty Moore, come over here and say howdy to all your friends in Texarkana, will you?
Howdy. Well, we want to invite everybody out to the show Friday night. And we're going to have 2 shows at 7 and 9. And they've all been asking about the drummer that we had up there last time, DJ Fontana. And he's going to be with us. He's a regular member of our band now, and he'll be there with us Friday night.
Basically, the country acts and the country programs wasn't really familiar with drums at all. So they wasn't sure how the people would take it. So they said, well, you stand back there and play. And I said, well, that's all right with me. You get paid the same money, you know. And after a couple of weeks, they said, well, just bring a snare drum out and bring a cymbal out. And by the time we got through with Elvis, they had the whole set out. You know, he said, just bring them all out. And that's what he wanted, and that's what Elvis wanted. So I guess maybe they kind of figured they better go along with his wishes, I guess, because he was drawing a lot of people in there by then.
None of us had ever been on the road, so you had number one, you'd have an experience. And then pretty soon you started getting tired and said, well, this will never end. But, and yet tomorrow, the next show will be better. It'd be a better show, be more money, it'd be, you know, everything's supposed to go up.
You've covered a lot of territory in the last few months, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. I've covered a lot, mostly in West Texas. That's where my records are hottest.
They tell me that they almost mob you there, the teenagers. They like you so much. But you know, I happen to know that you have toured all down in the eastern part of the country, too, down through Florida and around, and that the people went for you there about as well as out in West Texas. Isn't that right?
Well, I wasn't very well known down here, and my records don't have the distribution that they should have.
Sam Phillips, if he gets credit, and he deserves credit, he always wanted to find white singers that could do rhythm and blues, and that's where Elvis fit that category. The trouble was with small independent labels like Sun is distribution nationally. He had a problem with that. Colonel Parker saw that RCA had international distribution, that his boy would become a giant. And Sam couldn't provide that, and Sam knew it.
Here's a young man who in a few short months has gained tremendous popularity in the music business. His records are really going like wildfire. He's America's new singing sensation, our new RCA recording artist. Here he is, in a big reception for Elvis Presley.
He had handled Hank Snow and Eddie Arnold, and under his management, they both went to #1. So he opened doors for Elvis that other people couldn't open. And Elvis walked through and did an awesome job.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel. I'll be so lonely.
Heartbreak Hotel was Elvis's first recording that was released for RCA Victor. It therefore being on a national level as opposed to Sun, where it was just regional. So it got national exposure.
Heartbreak Hotel was a breakthrough for him because it was the first million seller.
I was in the studio when he recorded it. Of course, the Jordanaires were not on it, but I was sitting there and listening to him. And if you'd heard the demo of the person that had made a little demo for him to learn it from, you thought, man, this ain't no hit. But when this guy got through with it, it was just a great recording.
Well, if your baby leaves you, you gotta tell the tale. But it's take a walk down Lonely Street to Heartbreak Hotel.
The people at RCA at the time apparently thought it wasn't a good song, and they were reluctant actually to put it out. They didn't think it was that strong, but history has proven them to be wrong.
Thank you very much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A happy turn of the season to you all. On account of we have a wonderful and a long show tonight, here's Brother James to tell you what's going to happen.
Well, we're going to get things started out with a young man who is making his 6th appearance on stage shows. He's that dynamic singer of songs who incidentally leaves for Hollywood tonight for a screen test. We wish him a lot of luck. Here he is, Elvis Presley.
It didn't really bust right open until we went up and do the Dorsey shows. And then people saw him, and he kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
My mother and father wouldn't let us turn the television on when he was on because they thought he was vulgar. But you see, this created a lot of curiosity. This made the public curious about, hey, I got he's going to be on next Saturday night. I've got to turn this guy on and see what all these people are talking about.
Well, get out of that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Get out of that kitchen and rattle those pots and pans. Well, I roll my breakfast cause I'm a hungry man.
Everyone, when Elvis started, said that he was responsible for corrupting the young people. Ministers would do whole sermons from their pulpits. Don't listen to that music. It's the music of the devil.
I'm like a Mississippi bullfrog sitting on a hollow stump. I'm like a Mississippi bullfrog sitting on a hollow and I don't know which way to jump.
Here's this long-haired, greasy punk, you know, with sideburns, screaming out at them on the television screens. And he was shaking, rattling, rolling all over the place. And, you know, the adults, of course, they thought, this isn't music, he can't sing.
All the singers in those days stood there. But Elvis watched the gospel singers and the black performers move. So he moved on stage.
When he was first brought to the public, you know, they wouldn't even shoot him from the hips down, all that kind of thing on various TV shows. They called him vulgar. And like he said, that really hurt him. He was very, very concerned about what the reporters would write about him and what the people would say about him. We used to say, Elvis, forget it. What difference does it make?
I've tried to figure it out. I don't see how they could think that it would contribute to juvenile delinquency. Someone that's only singing and dancing. I don't see that, because if there's anything I've tried to do, I've tried to live a straight, clean life and not set any kind of a bad example. I will say that there are people that are going to like you and people that don't like you, regardless of what business you're in or what you do. You cannot please everyone.
People were afraid of him. They were afraid of Presley because he was just out there. He was like you'd opened a beehive and you had honey on you already and they were coming at you, you know.
The song is called Blue Suede Shoes. But it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything,
Elvis could do anything different from anybody. I mean, he could take a song that anybody had and do it different. I mean, if he just put his heart and soul into a song, it was just a different song.
Songs like Blue Suede Shoes, Tutti Frutti, and some of the other songs that Elvis did cover. Carl Perkins was the one who wrote Blue Suede Shoes and did the original version of that song. Carl Perkins' version is very good, no doubt about it, it's original. But Elvis brought something else to it.
He was always listening to different artists, and if he found a song he liked, he'd try it.
We enjoyed playing, just playing. There wasn't a producer, there wasn't anybody to say you got to play something this way or that way. They let us do what we wanted to do.
Nobody pushed us, because he wouldn't allow that in the first place. You know, he said, you know, if everybody's uncomfortable and everybody's uptight, we're not going to cut good records. If he felt the room was uptight, well, knock it off, guys, and we'll get a bite to eat and take off for an hour or so and come back.
RCA was good for him. The studio was good for him. The musicians were great. That's where you hear guys like Boots Randolph on sessions, Hank Sugarfoot Garland, the guitar player, Scotty and Bill, who had been with Elvis from the beginning, the Jordanaires. The whole thing came together because they had the production people, which Sam Phillips did not have.
Well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go alone till the Lord comes and calls me away, oh yes.
The Jordanaires just started a little bit before Elvis, so they were relatively new on the music scene at the time that Elvis kind of broke out nationally. But he always liked gospel music, and what he heard in the Jordanaires was this gospel kind of a feel that he wanted to interject into his music.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Oh Lord, I pray. There'll be no
Elvis used to listen to us sing on the Grand Ole Opry. We would sing country songs, and we didn't, but a lot of times we do a hand clapping spiritual. Now that's what Elvis really dug. He was brought up singing that type of stuff with his mother and dad. And we had a very, very smooth sound, and this was a smooth sound that he wanted. And of course, we always helped him with his arrangements. All those arrangements, those bop-bops, all those doo-wops in the background, that's all our arrangements.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said, please don't forget the past. The future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true.
They helped us out a lot because they were doing all the background parts, you know, singing all the doo-wops, and you know, to me it sounded like horn sections sometimes, you know. And it made it sound like we had a big band back there, you know. And Gordon played a little piano on some of them and on some of the stage things. And Hoyt Hawkins, he's passed away now. Hoyt played a little piano, so it helped fill up the band.
Why should we be apart? I really love you, baby.
I remember watching them on television, and I loved the Jordanaires, but at the time, I remember thinking, who are these guys in the background? They didn't seem to fit the picture.
It was odd, but it was clever in a way. It would make him look like the rebel. You'd have the straight backing musicians, and then you'd have this rebel lunatic at the front going mad, gyrating his hips, all the girls screaming, and the black hair, you know, the quiff falling down, everything, and he would look like nothing on earth.
Rock and roll, not a hot dog chef, not a dungaree dodge. I headed to the gym, to the sock hop ball. Jumping, the cats are going wild. The really send my day.
There was a kind of this reassuring maturity having the Jordanaires back there, and like when you sort of see them, for instance, on a song, on the televised version of Ready Teddy, they're clapping along, having a great time, and again, they're really enjoying it. I think they realised that they joined a very special band, they were backing a very special artist. And Elvis was giving them their heads. They were allowed to maybe do more than they were allowed with other artists.
Elvis never really made too many suggestions as to what we would do. If he didn't like it, he'd say, can you do something else right here? But Elvis never added too much with what he always liked what we did.
You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, which was actually written for a woman singer. When Elvis first heard that, he thought, you know, well, this would be a great song to do.
Interestingly, the whole arrangement's different. Mama May did, "You ain't nothing but a hound dog," where Elvis did, "You ain't nothing but," you know, up like that.
It was certainly one of the wildest records anybody had ever heard. It had Bill Black, he kept a nice steady beat. The Jordanaires were given the oohs and ahs in the background and the hand claps. And Elvis played a bit of rhythm. You know, you could hardly hear him on guitar, but he was there. And Scotty Moore, he threw in two of the wildest space-age guitar solos that had ever been recorded up until that time.
I played piano a lot of his recordings. I even played piano on Hound Dog. I bet you didn't know that.
Gord Stoker was playing piano because Shorty Long had he had another gig he had to go to. He was working on a stage show, and so he had to leave, and Gordon took over piano, and so just had the three Jordanaires singing on it.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Yeah, you ain't nothing but a rabbit. You ain't no friend of mine.
One of the key musical elements that creates such tension and sets up the chorus so wonderful is that at the end of each chorus, there's a pressed drum roll, and it just hangs there, makes the whole song just hang there, and you kind of, first time you hear it, you think, what's going to happen now? What's he going to do? Is he going to go sort of jump into a sort of hip swinging dance? Is there going to be a guitar break? Something's going to happen. In fact, it would just be Elvis with the second verse. But it's just great, great tension.
Well, I had Gretsch drums, and so, and that's all I really knew, you know, what they sounded like, you know. And I used them on all the early records.
DJ Fontana, you know, his drums are just like a machine gun, you know, and Elvis's wild, searing vocals all the way through it. It's a definite classic. One of the biggest songs ever recorded, sales-wise.
And what makes Hound Dog stand out with people is the other side of that record was called Don't Be Cruel. And the combination in 1 year was 11 million sales.
Well, honey, I love you, I know too much. I need your love and I know too much. I want the real love, I know your touch. Hey, I can't hold you, I know too much. Now you got me leaving, don't you leave me broken hearted, 'cause I love you too much.
Elvis worked really hard at his stage act, and I think he was a bit of a perfectionist. I know that in the recording studio he would go through different takes till he got the song just right.
A lot of times we'd do it in a few takes. A lot of times we would do as many as 30 takes, and then he'd go back and take number 2. You know, he'd say, play that, no, go back. That's where he kind of started when he was thinking, go back up and play number 2. You know, and he'd take that take.
But once he got started, he said, okay, guys, it's time to go to work, you know. He was ready. And we'd listen to the play, you know, listen to the acetate, and everybody take little notes of what you want to play, you know, in our own minds. He said, well, let's try it. And we'd kick it off, and if he didn't like it, he said, well, no, let's do something else.
Up to that time, I would say he was pretty much a straight-ahead rock and roller. Nobody took him as a serious singer. But Love Me Tender, I think, showed the softer side of him.
There are singers that sing slow songs that make you want to throw up. And there's singers that sing slow songs that really move you. And Presley knew how to interpret a slow song.
Love me tender, love me sweet. Never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will.
Well, when you dare do a ballad, you've got to make sure your notes are better, because you got to hold them longer. Your words have got to be cleaner. They've got to be empathetic with the situation in the song.
That song really had a lot of words for him to put his heart into. And he loved a lot of people. He especially loved his mother, and of course his mother was living at the time that he recorded that. And I'm sure he had his mother in mind when he did Love Me Tender.
Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always.
That was a good record. That Love Me Tender. Some of the rest of them, they're fair, you know, but that was a darn good record. And it was for his first movie. I thought it was pretty darn decent.
It's interesting from a production point of view. It's a bit of a risk because suddenly, from all the rock and roll stuff, you had this very slightly syrupy, but still, maybe it was to show off his voice. Maybe that was the reason he did it. But it works.
For my
approached the song different. He sang it different. He had an excellent memory, and he didn't have to read the words. He knew that he had the words right up here, and this way he could put his heart into a line. He could put his heart into the words of a song.
Around him, his influences were blues, black blues music. There was country music, which was essentially white music, but had its roots in black music as well. And then there was the church.
And he loved gospel music. Every chance he got to go hear a gospel group, he would go. Years back, they used to have several gospel troops come through town all the time. And they played Memphis, of course, and he'd go back and see them, every one of them.
In many Elvis songs, there's a gospel influence, and that mainly comes from the backing vocals supplied in the early days by the Jordanaires.
When the Blue Moon Turns to Gold would appeal more to an older audience, where all this other stuff, you know, the early stuff and everything, It's All Right and all that stuff would appeal to a much younger audience and would get much onto those more fringe type radio stations, where this could be mainstreamed and mainlined into the major radio stations, and I always got the feeling that that was a calculated move.
Elvis Presley has just been awarded call-up papers, and it's into the barber's shop. The Army doesn't care for those sideboards, the trademark of his fame and fortune as king of rock and roll. Last year, he made $1 million.
In 1958, I got drafted into the Army. And it just so happens, a very big famous entertainer at the same time got drafted a couple of weeks later after I did. And it just so happens, we met while we were in the service. I was not in the entertainment business. I'm from Chicago, had nothing to do with entertainment. Became friends with Elvis in the service, and he asked me to go to work for him, and I was with him from 1960 till he passed away. Frank Sinatra welcoming Elvis back home after the service. And that was my first gig with Elvis, basically. And I was thinking to myself, I was in Miami Beach, the Fontainebleau Hotel, this big, beautiful suite up on top, and I'm there with Elvis, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, with all these big stars from nowhere in the streets of Chicago to meeting all these big stars and hanging out with them. It was a very exciting life.
Before the Army days, Elvis was still looked upon as being someone who changed our wonderful children into these monsters that we can't control. But when Elvis went in as a real soldier and did his job just like any other soldier, he came back, it was like all his sins are washed away. He's all right now. He's one of us. It totally changed his reputation.
I'm a steamroller, baby. I'm bound to roll all over you. I'm a steamroller, baby. I'm bound to roll all over you.
I think in his own way, Elvis was a perfectionist too. And when you stand still, you're not moving forward. As time went on, Elvis progressed from the raw, hormonal-driven blue suede shoes and all that sort of thing. He matured. That's the way I see it. His music matured. And I felt it was really better as the years went on.
He was like a caged animal. He couldn't stand to be in the studio. He couldn't stand to be in a vocal booth and not move. He was very spontaneous, and he always stood right in front of the drums to express the beat, the emotion of what he was singing.
I've never seen anybody, live performer, and I've seen a lot of them, do what Elvis could do. Elvis did things clinically correct. He was technically one of the best artists, and I didn't know it at the time. I was too young, too naive. But I will tell you that after I became an adult and had a record company, I looked for people like that, and I never found any. That, you know, they could hear it. They had perfect or relative pitch, and they'd be on stage, and Elvis would hear an errant note hit by the trombone player in Joe Gershio's band. He'd stop the band. Hold on one second. Let's do that again. Our concerts were much like being in the studio. They had to be spot on. They had to be 100% totally technically correct. And that's because Elvis felt like his fans deserved 100%.
Oh, see, CC Rider. Oh, see what you have done. I said, see, CC Rider. Oh, see.
Colonel and one of his staff were driving from Palm Springs, where Colonel's wife was staying with her nurses, back into Los Angeles because Colonel had to go to the office on Monday morning. It was Sunday afternoon, and they turned on the radio, and President Nixon was speaking from the Wall of China. He had opened negotiations with China. And Colonel said, you know, this is making history. This is incredible. Everyone around the world is watching this. And then he said, Elvis is a worldwide star. He should be the first to sing via satellite so that everyone can see him at the same time. This will be the biggest audience he ever has.
Well, I'm going away, baby, and I won't be back here for going away, baby, and I won't be back here for. If I find me a good girl, I won't be back at all. What I say.
So this was a big challenge for Elvis. I mean, doing a live performance, you had to be live, and you come on at a certain time, and it cuts you off at a certain time. So you got to finish the show within that 58 minutes, wherever it is. And it was a big challenge.
It was so amazing because we had to be right on. I mean, just right straight on. And we did this show for about a little better than an hour, which went around the world. And it was quite an experience.
Born in the heat of the desert, my mother died giving me life.
Before we started, Marty Pacetto was counting it down. I said, when I drop my hands, I said, this is the first time this first note is going to go, I mean, we're going all over the world. You know, with a picture and the note, and those guys just played. That show was, my guys were tight. Everybody was tight. It was just a flicker. Great.
After another, I've climbed them all one by one. Oh, but this time, Lord, you gave me a mountain.
It was very electrifying. It was just, I've talked about his ability to rise to the top levels of the audience response and the intensity. Well, this thing was, if it was 1 to 100, it was 100 all the way. You know, it just, there was no holding back. One Friday evening, I got a call from my friend Larry and said, we've been auditioning drummers for 2 or 3 weeks, and we tried everybody in town, and we got one guy coming tomorrow night, and they asked me if I knew anybody. So when they finally asked me, I told them about you. So can you come tomorrow? So I slept my drums, get them in a taxi cab, fly them into LA, and take them to the studio where they're rehearsing, and set them up. And they almost thought that they had the drummer. The other drummer came in on my drums and played, and they were all nodding and smiling and saying, yeah, this is, in so many words, it wasn't verbal, but you could tell everybody was happy. So as they got through, everybody kind of walked away and started putting their cases, their instruments in their cases. He says to Colonel Parker, you know, you just bought this ticket for this guy to come out here, so I guess it got him where his heart is, and he went up to Elvis. I could hear him watching, rather talking, and So Elvis turns to everybody and says, guys, we got one more drummer. And you could see the looks on everybody's face like, oh no, you know. Just when we thought we had it nailed down. So I go in there and we start playing a couple of songs. Immediately, he and I had this great rapport visually through eyes, watching each other. And the long and short of it is that I think that's what made the difference in him choosing me over the other guy at that particular time, was because, well, that's what he told me anyways, because he says, you watched everything I did. You know, I could wiggle my little finger and you'd do something to accent it or something, you know. And later on when I talked to DJ about it, he used to say, hey, yeah, it's like playing for a stripper. You catch every movement, you know, and I instinctively did it, and it worked. You know?
When you don't believe a word I say, well, you know, caught in a trap, I can't walk out because I love you too much. Caught in it.
We opened in 1969 in Vegas. We had a tour set up right after the gig here, okay? So we had a couple days off, and then we had a plane here, and we took off to go on tour. I think we had like 12 cities we had to go to. And at that time, Elvis, we did a show every night, and Saturday and Sunday with a matinee and a night show. There was no days off. We did a show, we go to the next town, did a show. So it became like a routine. We got really well, we had great security guys work all with us together, a valet guy, transportation guy, and just so everybody had their certain job to do. And we all learned as we went along, make sure all the little kinks were out of it. And we became such an organized group that a lot of other people and security people and other police officers in other towns we would meet, they said, you guys are the most organized people we've ever seen in your life, security-wise.
I know I'm prejudiced, but I thought we had the best group out there. I thought our security was the tightest in the business. I mean, I thought that we did the best job. I think our management was great. I thought the Colonel did a great job in those days for Elvis. What he did for him, I thought Joe Esposito was fantastic, road manager. We had everything. It was a tight, well-oiled machine. We had a lot of people and 3 aircraft, and we kept them moving for 21 days at a time.
Get to a city, I got 12 strings from the town, I got an orchestra from the town, and you get in a lot of cities, and music's not what it is in the major hubs, you know. It's like, it's a struggle. And to rehearse an Elvis show without a rhythm section is a major struggle, because, you know, it goes to so many places. It was not just this, it's big orchestra, it's small band, it's rock and roll. You know, half the guys are not acclimated to playing that wide a range of music. And after the first tour we did with the band, in each town, I went to the Colonel, and I said, I had Diskin and the Colonel, and I said, you know what? I said, we got to cut this band down for the tours. Colonel says, Joe, I've been in a lot of places. I've never heard a band leader come to me and says, I want a smaller band.
I think the orchestra brought a classiness and a fullness of music to Elvis's shows that can only be achieved with an orchestra. I like orchestrated music. I like orchestras. And I like rhythm bands too, but I love orchestras to enhance them. And I think they did a terrific job of enhancing. The rhythm band was always out front, the lead guitar and when the piano had a lead and so forth, they were always out front. But the orchestra built the foundation underneath everything that really makes it sound good.
They were all studio musicians. You know, they weren't just band members. These guys were the guys that not only recorded with Elvis, but they recorded with half the people, and here in Nashville too, recorded with everybody in the business. So they were, anytime you heard a live Elvis concert, from the quality of music, it was like listening to a record.
And of course we had this huge orchestra behind us, and the suites, and originally we had the Imperials. I think they made the decision that they didn't want to continue on for personal reasons and so forth. So I think Elvis had always admired J.D. Sumner and the Stamps, and so they came along then, and they were along till the end.
Charlie called us up and said, Elvis likes your singing and wants to know if you guys are interested in doing background vocals for him. So we said, of course, J.D. said yes.
He loved that quartet sound, and that became a part of everything he did. And then he brought in the Sweet Inspirations, the black girls, because he loved the black choir feel. And his music, if you really listen to it, was a combination of the black gospel and the white Southern gospel. It's really just a blend of those two musics. And he wanted that feel and that sound, you know, in every song that he sang. And so it was an unbelievable ensemble on stage. I mean, here we were with the Stamps Quartet and the Sweet Inspirations, all of us singing together. It was a huge sound. It was like singing with this incredible choir every night, and then Elvis with a full orchestra. There was just nothing like it. There was nothing like it.
He had fantastic musicians, and these guys were a really tight-knit bunch of guys, and they recorded with Elvis, they traveled with him, and they were fantastic. He had the best musicians out there. Joe Gershow.
Here's Mr. Joe Gershow.
The glue came together the first rehearsal, because, you know, they're pros, my guys are pros, I've been doing it for a long time. And Elvis was blown away, really blown away.
He loved to be spontaneous off of things that he would hear, and he had the ability to draw that out of you. It's the style with which he would draw it out. He never told me what to play, never. He always, and from the very beginning, he says, I want you to do your thing. I don't want to try to sound like old records or any of that stuff. You play how you feel it.
You're gonna set me on fire. My brain is flaming. I don't know which way to go. Yeah.
Of course, you know, he had the Sweet Inspirations out there, and he had the Stamps Quartet and J.D. Sumner. He had Kathy Westmoreland. But you take all those individual great talents, and I used to say this a lot, that you took these disparate personalities, these different egos, these different talents, and Elvis on stage did what he did off stage. He melded every one of us into a very, very tight-knit, well-oiled machine. We did our jobs, and we did it very well. I'm telling you, the man could make you stand up, sit down, cry, laugh, applaud, whatever he wanted to do. And he could do it with his mannerisms, and he had an incredible control over people at those concerts.
It's coming closer, claims that I reach in my body. Please won't you help me? I feel like I'm drifting away.
He had such a great voice. There's no choice about it. The guy could sing anything he was to sing. Gospel, country, music, anything, pop songs. He loved songs, very strong songs. And over the years, his voice got stronger and stronger.
Hunk of Burning Love is one of the songs that Elvis came up with on the first recording session that we did with him. And I wasn't used to working with him in the studio yet, so I didn't quite know how to act. So before we recorded, Charlie Hodge, who was his right-hand man, came to us and he said, guys, he said, when Elvis records, he likes to do what he likes to do. And he said, if he points at you, he wants you to do something musically to impress him. So we were singing Hunk of Burning Love. We was doing the ending, and he's going, you know, Hunk of Burning Love. And he's doing hunk of burning love, hunk of burning love. And he pointed at me. And I didn't know what to do. I was petrified. And so when he pointed at me, he acted like he went kind of like this, and I thought, well, he wants me to sing something high. So I just screamed real high. I tried to do it on pitch, of course, but I screamed real high. He said, that's it. So for the next 3 hours, we went through that song and did that ending over and over and over until we got it just like he wanted it. And I was hoarse when I got done because I had screamed a high C was what it was. It was a high C, which is literally very high for a man. And that's how that came out. And it all happened in the studio, the RCA Victor in Hollywood, California.
Elvis was probably the most generous person I know. It was just absolutely amazing. Money was, he said it was, he loved to make money so he can enjoy life and his friends can enjoy it with him.
I was in the back seat with my legs stuck out like a chicken, you know, and I said, Elvis, you can't buy me a house. And he slowed down and looked over at me and took those sunglasses off and gave you the look, you know, and he said, I can do anything I want, I'm rich.
If you ever go, darling, I'll be oh so lonely. I'll be sad and blue, crying over you.
He never quibbled about money's fees, you know, to be paid for working with him. He kind of took pride, and he'd even say that from the stage sometimes. This is one of the highest paid bands in show business, ladies and gentlemen. You know, he was being silly, but at the same time, he was what he thought, you know. And he loved to lavish people with rings and bracelets and necklaces and those kind of things. You know.
Begging on my knees, all I ask is please, please love me. Whoa, yeah.
He never forgot that he had very humble beginnings. And to see someone else who was going through a difficult time, if he could give them something that would lighten their burden, even just for a little while, it was his pleasure to do so.
Thank you very much. I'd like to sing a song that's probably the saddest song I've ever heard. It goes like this.
Well, when you're a big star, it is a lonely life because it's tough because are people here for me, the star, or my money, or really me? And that's a tough situation because they, most of the people are, I want to meet Elvis Presley, the star, and all stuff like that. So are they loving you for you, yourself, or the star? And that's a tough life. It's a real tough life. And knowing if somebody likes you for that reason,
So, and not only that, you can't go out in public as much as you can because everybody's following you, tracing, taking pictures. And the thing about Elvis, he loved his fans more than any star I know of because he knew they put him where he was. And he'd stop, sign autographs for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I said, Elvis, we got to go. We got to catch a plane. The crew's waiting. He said, Joe, the plane ain't going anyplace till I get there. So, and that's the way he was. He really loved his fans because he knew they made him who he was.
I'm so lonesome I could cry.
There was a lot of separation. I think a lot of that happened in the early days before me when the Colonel set up this mystique of Elvis. And, and Elvis did have a rather lonely life, particularly toward the end there, and he didn't get out among his fans like maybe at one time he did, and maybe even like he wanted to at one time. And he stayed in Graceland a lot and actually upstairs a lot in his bedroom, and about the only place he'd get out anymore would be to ride motorcycles late at night with a large entourage of us, or he'd play racquetball there at the house and on tour. And his life became, I guess, a bit stilted in that way.
I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Drugs have an effect on anyone, and it was all prescription medication. It's been brought out that this started when he was in the army in Germany. In order to wake up and be alert in the morning, the sergeant gave him pills. In order to enable him to sleep at night. He was always an insomniac. And that's how it started. He couldn't get to sleep at night, and then he couldn't wake up in the morning, so the pills made that possible. And it just grew. No one expects an addiction to happen. But once you get into it, you're stuck.
In the summer, did you go? I'll be lonely, oh so lonely.
I'm certainly not going to sugarcoat this. I mean, Elvis certainly took prescription medication to excess, and he had physical ailments that he was attempting to address. I'm no doctor, but I understand that's true. But then he also had physical ailments, I'm sure, that were largely caused because of the intake of too many medications. And there were occasions where I think that Elvis's performance probably was not what it could be. But I will tell you that nobody knew that more than Elvis. You talk to a lot of the fans that were at some of those concerts, and some of them may say they noticed it and some didn't. Many didn't because of the power that Elvis had on that stage. But the guy that knew it the best was Elvis when he got in that car. And he would be angry, but he would be angry at himself.
Colonel was devastated. He was watching his best friend disappear before his eyes. He'd gone up to see him, and he came down, and he had tears. He said, I've lost him. This is not the man I knew as Elvis. What are we going to do? And he didn't know. He tried. In fact, one of the reasons that they split when they did very briefly was because Colonel and Vernon, Elvis' father, talked about it, and Colonel said, if Elvis isn't on the road, maybe then we can get him to deal with this. But it didn't work.
Wise men say only fools rush. Well, I can't falling in love with.
Well, August 16th, we were getting ready to go on tour that. We were supposed to go to Portland, Maine to do a show the next night. So we were all there. I was there at the house getting ready to set things up, with pilots and everybody, and getting ready to leave that afternoon. And that's when the phone call came from upstairs. And I went upstairs and called the ambulance and went to the hospital with him, and that was it. He left us. He left us. Very, very tough, very hard, and it was just. It took me about 3 months to realize he was gone, that he was not coming back.
Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you?
Colonel and his staff, which included me, were in Portland, Maine, when Colonel got the phone call that Elvis had been taken to the hospital. And then the next call said he was gone. And we went into shock, basically. We couldn't believe it. This was totally unexpected. I guess we always expected him to be immortal. And in a sense, he still is.